Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jim Wellman doing your Eastern Area Fire Weather Briefing this afternoon on February the 25th. Looking at precipitation for the past month, it has been mostly dry across the eastern area. Very dry conditions have continued across southern Iowa, northern Missouri, into northern Illinois, and also drier than normal conditions are observed across much of northern New England. The recent major nor'easter affecting the East Coast brought some near to above normal precipitation to the mid Atlantic and portions of southern New England. The only area that has a more widespread above normal signature is across the upper Midwest. Temperatures overall, though, have been below normal near the East Coast due to persistent Arctic outbreaks. However, in the Midwest, temperatures have overall been above normal, especially due to downsloping coming off the Rocky Mountains and moving into the Mississippi Valley. This afternoon's satellite image shows that snowpack continues across much of Minnesota and the upper Great Lakes, while another cold front with snow is departing the northeast. Overall, dry westerly flow continues across the Big Rivers compact with some higher level clouds this afternoon. The current National Weather Service watches, warnings, and advisories show that snow advisories are winding down across the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and Western New York. The area in Western New York is mainly due to lake effect snow coming off of Lake Ontario. The forecast for tomorrow is for generally mild conditions across the eastern area. Temperatures in the southern portion of the area, especially in the big rivers and Missouri, will be above normal. Temperatures near the Canadian border will be near to slightly above normal as you head westward into Minnesota. Overall, the next cold front is going to start dropping down from the north with perhaps some light snow tonight in the upper Great Lakes, while the cold front that passed through yesterday is stalled in the southern Appalachians and could bring some light mixed precipitation to the mid Atlantic today. Overall, though, RH remains rather benign, a little bit drier in the big rivers area, and wind should be light. And likewise, significant fire potential overall will be very, very low, except across portions of southern Missouri and the Mark Twain National Forest. Looking ahead to Friday, temperatures will warm up ahead of the next cold front due to strong southwesterly flow, with much of the area above normal, except in the northeast, where it'll be near to slightly below normal. Temperatures in Missouri could reach or surpass 70 degrees on Friday. In addition, ahead of the front, breezy southwest winds are expected across Missouri into Illinois, along with minimum RH falling to 20 to 30%. This could bring some locally elevated fire weather conditions to that area, and moderate significant fire potential is forecast for southern Missouri, where the potential looks to be highest due to these conditions. Overall, the winds look to be about 15 to 20 miles an hour, with gusts to 30 miles an hour in Missouri and into Illinois. Breezy winds are also expected along and near the front in Minnesota. However, with snowpack across much of the area, the effect should be minimized. Moving to Saturday, that cold front will continue to move to the Great Lakes and the Mississippi Valley, although it'll be mainly dry to start as it moves through with only some very, very light precipitation. Much colder air will be moving in behind it into the upper Great Lakes. However, very warm conditions are likely to persist in Missouri and along with lower RH, although winds may be a bit lighter than what's observed on Friday. This area will continue to be monitored as potential could increase again on Saturday if these winds and very warm temperatures persist. However, there is good news as we look ahead. The next 4 days' precipitation from the Weather Prediction Center for Sunday through Wednesday shows that precipitation should increase behind that front as it stalls across the mid-Mississippi and Ohio valleys into the mid-Atlantic and southern New England. Precipitation on Sunday should increase across the mid-Mississippi Valley with heavier rainfall amounts up to 1 inch possible. As we move into Monday, the main band of precipitation will move eastward along the Ohio Valley into the mid Atlantic, with some favored areas in the blue there showing more than 1/2 inch. Tuesday, that front will begin to weaken a bit, with precipitation overall becoming lighter, but still scattered showers are likely from Missouri eastward into the mid Atlantic. On Wednesday, another is likely to develop along the front as a deeper trough emerges from the southwest. This precipitation that's shown on Wednesday is a little bit more uncertain on the timing. However, it does look like a wetter pattern is starting to develop for the Big Rivers Compact. Looking beyond the next 7 days into week 2, here we have 2 ensemble forecasts with the GFS and 30 members on the left, and the European ensemble with 50 members on the right. The evolution of this western trough that is expected to develop late next week into next weekend will determine just how much rain we can get into the big rivers and possibly into the mid Atlantic. On the left, the GFS ensemble is favoring more of a loosely defined trough that expands throughout the Rocky Mountains. This pattern would be a little bit drier, but it would be able to pull up moisture from the Gulf and give us some beneficial rain for much of these areas. However, on the right, as we look at the European ensemble, which is leaning toward more of a cutoff upper level low solution in the southwest that would eventually emerge into the plains, this solution is a little bit more favorable for rainfall as even more Gulf moisture could be pulled northward. Therefore, rain amounts with this solution could be heavier for the big rivers and farther east into the mid Atlantic. Likewise, looking at the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks for these areas, the Climate Prediction Center is taking all these into account and is forecasting the likelihood of above normal precipitation across much of the southern plains into the Big Rivers Compact and then skirting the mid Atlantic, but also spreading into the Great Lakes, which would be very beneficial for much of the eastern area. Temperatures overall, though, will be above normal, though they could start a little bit below normal in the Northeast at the beginning of the period. So, overall summary for the next 2 weeks. The dry conditions in the big rivers will persist into the weekend with breezy southwest winds, creating locally elevated conditions on Friday. A dry cold front will move through the area late this week that will be responsible for the winds, but it will stall to the south early next week from the mid Mississippi Valley into the Ohio Valley and mid Atlantic. Periods of precipitation are expected early next week for the southern 2/3 of the eastern area, with the upper Midwest most likely to remain dry during this period. Snow will be most likely on the northern fringe of this precipitation. And then as we head into the week 2 period, a wetter pattern is likely to continue for the big rivers late next week into next weekend, but just how much rainfall will fall is yet to be determined. This concludes the Eastern Area Fire Weather Briefing for Wednesday, February 25th. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email me or give me a call at my cell phone number above. Thank you and enjoy your week.